Hi, my name is Zipprich, and this is my video discussion for the evaluation process for SPED 730 Module 6. The first question in this discussion asks what are, in my opinion, two critical components of the evaluation process. And I think the first component that I feel is critical is the history of the student. Gathering information from the parents, other family members possibly, teachers, former teachers, other people in the school that have had contact with the student, so that the evaluator gets a good picture of, these are kind of the things that the student has shown over the years. These are areas where they've done well. These are the areas where they've struggled and they may have weaknesses. And also, what are some of their interests outside of school? What kinds of things do they like to do, that maybe could be used to decide and determine what kind of interventions maybe later on, if they do need them, that they can target. It allows the evaluator to compare and contrast, what he or she is seeing during the evaluation to see if the things that the students are doing are typical or, have been observed in other settings or by other people and not just happening right now at this time. And the second critical component, I think, are the recommendations that come after the evaluations are over. It gives some answers, options, and ideas to help the teachers and the parents kind of, know where to go from here. Where should parents, what do they need to do? What kind of things can they be doing at home, possibly to help the student? And it helps the teachers to know that, this is a step in the right direction, to know what kind of interventions and what kind of learning styles these students have to kind of help them best in the classroom. And then these recommendations a lot of times also advise parents that, maybe these are the areas that showed the most weakness, or these are the areas that need the most attention, so that the parents and the school could get further evaluations in maybe just those areas, so that there can really be some further evaluations that go on to pinpoint what's going on. The second question says, how is this process critical not only to understanding the student, but also to determine what the educational program will be for the learner? In John's case, who we read about in the article, it's critical for him because it helps us know why he does what he does, shows the areas where he's weak and possibly why he is, showing some areas that are weak, or showing some maybe behaviors that are coming about because he does struggle in some areas. And it asks for more evaluations again, so we can figure out, where exactly his problems lie and what would be the best interventions to help him succeed in those areas. It helps to know how to proceed with students' education. That's why, this evaluation that John and other students get, it kind of paints the whole picture. It runs the gamut of testing. They do visual, they do audio, they do oral, they do writing, math, do an IQ test, and the evaluator is also able to observe behaviors and nonverbals and things that are going on with the student, and to make note and write things down about that, so that the teachers and the parents can meet and say, okay, this is where we need to go from here. What classes is the student going to take? What's their least restrictive environment? Where are they going to learn the best? What kind of accommodations or what appropriate learning styles do we need to bring in to help this student? And so the evaluation process helps us know all of those things about the learner and where they need to go in the classroom based on the results from this evaluation. And finally, it says, what are some of my concerns concerning this process? And I guess that one of my concerns as a special ed teacher is that, you know, giving RTI interventions and helping students, but still seeing some students struggle, you know, and trying to decide when do we stop RTI interventions and move to special ed help or special ed evaluations, or, you know, getting the student more help than the RTI interventions can offer. You know, when do we skip, or is there a point, or when do we skip RTI and go straight to special ed services? You know, is there a student who has been, I guess, neglected or slipped through the cracks so much and for so long that they're so far behind that they really will not be able to catch up with RTI intervention? So, you know, those are kind of something that I always think about as a special ed teacher. Furthermore, I think that there, you know, with looking at these evaluations, that it is important to get input and observations and data from everybody in the student's life, because, you know, it really does paint a picture. The evaluator only spends, you know, a limited amount of time with the student, and if that person is from outside the school and has never had contact with the student that he or she is evaluating, you know, it may be hard to get an accurate picture other than you know, what's shown on those tests of that student. So without the history, that wouldn't be possible. So I really, you know, a concern would be is if the evaluator doesn't have enough information about the student to kind of compare the results to, that maybe there won't be appropriate interventions done for the student to help him or her be as successful as they can.